Hind everyone. I Anu on the behalf of SSB Club under Training and Placement Cell, Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology welcomes you all in the webinar of Insights of SSB Interview, organized by SSB Club in collaboration with Yodha SSB Academy. Today we have with us retired Brigadier General View Venu as our speaker of today. He has served Indian Army as an officer for a long time and was interviewing officer and president at SSB Kapurthala. It was an matter of honor to host you, sir. Now I request Lalit to welcome our speaker.
So, Jai Hind everyone, and it's a matter of privilege and proud for us, sir, to host you. I would like to introduce again, sir, that's Brigadier G. Venu, sir. Sir is a chairman of the Yodha SSB Academy, and sir was the president and the interviewing officer at the SSB Kapurthala. And also I was got interviewed in the academy by the sir. So, sir, thank you, and I welcome you in this webinar. Being the coordinator of the SSB Club, I would like, on the behalf of the Training and Placement Cell and the Guru Jambeshwar University, I welcome you, sir. And as we all know, on the being the interviewing officer, sir has a long experience in the field of SSB, and sir has interviewed a lot of students. So it would be very good for us, and it would be a very learning experience to listen to you, sir. So over to you, sir. Sir.
Okay, let me begin now by this thing. Anyway, welcome to all those people who are attending the webinar. In the next about hour plus, I would like to put across to you what do we expect in the interview. That is the topic that is being given to me for today. So for all the 32 of you, I believe that many of you are aspirants to join the defense forces, and I hope to give you some kind of an insight into what happens in the SSB during the interview. Okay, many people know, many in the SSB believe that, going for the SSB, believes that it is the toughest part of the SSB for many reasons. One, this is during the entire course of SSB, this is the only time that you are alone and you are being asked questions. Second is your anxiety levels, because you don't know what you will get, what is the subject that you will be asked on. Third is your own anxiety to perform, that you want to do well, and how would it turn out to be? Because the entire course you are always in a group, and you had somebody to look up and look left and right and see, seek solace from or seek comfort from. Now you are all alone, and then you have to do that. Let me put it to rest. The interview has got no subject. It is a personality-based conversation in which we try to evaluate your personality. Therefore, there is no syllabi that you can follow. You cannot study it from books. It is all about yourself, what you are made up of. That is how it is. The whole issue is based upon. So when we come to the thing, the SSB, the interview proper, let me also tell you that it is the most scoring part of the SSB, in which, unlike the GTO tasks or the psychology test, this is the most scoring. And then in addition to that, if you score well, you stand to get some additional marks, because the interviewing officer has got some additional marks which he gives away at the time of the conference. This depends it is on a pro rata basis, that if you score this much in the interview, you will get, this kind of marks for the conference. So it is only very rare that somebody gets more or less based on your performance. And this liberty is basically with the interviewing officer only. The GTO and psychologists also have some marks with them. But in that, what they can give, in addition to the pro rata marks is just plus minus 1 mark. That is all that they can give into as additional marks to you. Whereas the IO holds much more marks and he is at liberty to give, even up to 8, 9, 10 marks. And 10 marks means your merit goes up by almost 1,000 if you manage to grab that 10 marks. So it is in your interest that you do well. Before beginning the interview, 2, 3 things that you need to be sure of is: one, you have to be calm. Dress up properly so that no part of your dress is a distraction for the interviewing officer. It is not. I don't mean to say that you have to be in the latest tie, suit, and etc. But dress decently. That anyone, if you're dressed up, people should say that, yes, look at this boy or girl. She is dressed up so well for this interview. That should be the impression that you should give to the interviewing officer. Walk in comfortably, not in panic situation. Walk in comfortably and do not forget to wish the interviewing officer as per the time of the day, and wait for your turn to sit down when he asks you. Okay. Then comes the interview itself. Like I said earlier, it is a personality-based interview. Therefore, we are trying to evaluate your personality. And how do we do that? We try and get an insight into the life that you have lived so far, to include all facets of your life that you would have gone through at that age of yours. And if somebody is working, his service also is included, which will basically include your what is it that majorly is part of your personality, the kind of education that you got and many opportunities that you may have got, and how have you utilized this as part of your education. Then second thing is, what do you do? The second major place where you have lots of interaction is your home. People in your home, people in your neighborhood. How do you, comfortably spend your time and learn about things? Thereafter, your other friends, your neighborhood activities, your hobbies, interests, various other activities that you involve yourself in your neighborhood. All this is the third part of your, what could be asked to you. And then there would be, based on whatever is happening in the country, how have you kept track of what is happening, and what are your views on various issues that are happening in the country. These are the many things that that we cover. So like I said, there is no syllabus. Only syllabus that the interviewing officer has is the personal information questionnaire that you have filled up at the time of joining the SSB. That alone is the document that he has access to. And if you have submitted certain certificates and photocopies of various your documents of mark list, etc., those are the only documents that the interviewing officer is looking at. Therefore, it is also important that you fill up your PIQ with absolute precision, neatly and legibly. That reveals a lot of things. It may look like a very simplified document. Yes, it is a simplified document which reveals your personality to a large extent. It tells us how have you studied, how have you utilized your opportunities, how do you spend your time. All those things get revealed through the PIQ. So filling up that document is very important. That is the document, along with a photography of yours, is the document that the interviewing officer gets when on time, much before your interview starts, and he's got it with him when the interview commences. And that is the reference document that he has. Now, you would again wonder, what is it that he would ask? He would, like I said, he would ask you about your education and all the activities that happens in an educational institution, like your sports and games, co-curricular activities that are there, then your friends, what are the activities that you do with your friends, and what all you know about each other, and how have you been benefiting each other by helping each other. Your teachers, again, how have they been of any influence in your life? And also, then comes your fees, whether any, did you have any difficulty in your studies, etc., and so on and so forth, because of monetary issues. So the next is about your family, like I said, and third, then your routine, etc. Now, how does the interview begin once you have sat down? The first is the interviewing officer. You must understand that you have entered a strange room, which you have never seen earlier. You have entered a strange room, and the person who is sitting across you, you would have perhaps had a glimpse of him during the stage 1 test. That's all. Otherwise, he doesn't appear anywhere as part of any part of the SSB activity anytime before that. So this is the first time that you would be seeing that person. You're entering a room. Now, once you have entered, the room closes and it is just the two of you which are there. And when we ask you about that, the idea is to make you comfortable first. So we try and make you comfortable. How does he do that? He asks you a question that you are you're meant to be very, very thorough and sure about. One is something about your journey that you have just performed to reach the SSB. Or it could even be about your district. It could be about the last cricket match that you have played, if you are a cricketer or something like that. And this is a good opportunity to get conversing with him, and he will give you he might ask you some additional questions, etc., so that you get enough time to speak to him and also understand what he is trying to ask and relieve some of the pressure that has built up in you before commencement of the interview. Now that you are inside, you should be de-stressing yourself before the proper interview commences. Once that has been done, and when the interviewing officer feels that you are now generally comfortable and at ease now, he will start commencement of the interview. In the commencement of the interview, he will make his opening remarks as to how he is going to conduct the interview, which would include he telling you what is the sequence in which he would like to go through the interview, which are the major heads that he would like to cover during the interview, and what is expected of you. Few things that he will stress upon is, do not you just try and answer the questions asked to you in point form. Second that he would tell you is, do not start reasoning your answers or do not start explaining. Just be brief and to the point for the question that has been asked. It should be self-explanatory, but it should not be long-winding. Okay. Having done this, having made his open remarks, he will ask you whether you understood anything, any doubts. If once you have given your okay, that you are okay with the answer, then comes the next part of the thing where he makes his first question. These questions, we call these questions comprehensive introductory questionnaire. Many of you choose to call it as the rapid fire question. There is nothing rapid about it. It is just that the question is asked in a sequence so that you are able to speak to that person with absolute comfort. Okay. It will not be objective type. Objective type, you say, which class you study, you'll say 8, and uske baad you will keep waiting for the question. No, it won't be like that. It will be a long winding question to include all activities that you've done in your school or your college and what has been your gate from that. So once that is done, the first subject that he normally introduces is your education. The second is basically about your family. The third one is your various other activities that you involve yourself in, how have you benefited. Then is your hobbies, interest, and various other activities that you've been bothered about, and how have you been keeping track of them, or how have you utilized your opportunity. These are the kinds of questions that, this long question is asked to you so that you get time and you can amend your answers as you continue. So there is no, so you should make sure that you are answering only to the point and nothing more, nothing less. Oh, video stop. What happened? Where is the mic? Where is the mic? Yeah. Yeah, am I right? Oh, yeah. Suddenly, I touched the screen and my image went down. Sorry for that. Okay. So once you have, once you start answering the question, that is where the actual real interview starts. From whatever you speak, he will pick up issues that he would like to know more in greater detail. And then when you have done answering the longish question, he will ask you additional questions in which you have to explain or briefly say what exactly you meant by whatever you have said. So the first question is about your education. It shall be, if you think about yourself itself, what all could be I could be asked about your education. It is, where all did you study? Where have you reached in your studies now? So from your 10th or 9th or 10th class, how have you been studying? Then your efforts to improve. Thereafter, he will ask you, the next question in the same sequence would be about your own scores in academics and also your scores in your various exams that you have performed. That is the scores that they will ask you. Any ups and downs in the education, he will further query about that. Similarly, about your friends. Friends also generally of two categories. What is your closest friends? Those people whom you roam around on a regular basis. And then your larger circle of friends, the class, your division, etc., besides your own friends. How have you been helping them? What is it that you like about them? What is it that they like about you? Something that you do not like about them. How have you helped them to improve at some point when you got a chance? So having done that, once that part of the question is asked, when you start answering, there'll be questions about your games, sports, other activities that you involved in, your NCC, teachers. Now many would be thinking, what could you ask about the teacher? They'll ask you, how has the teacher helped you in growing? Who is that you like the most? Who is somebody whom you do not like? What are the reasons? So like that, the questions will keep building. If you say you like something about him, he will ask you, okay, tell me something that you do not like about him, teacher. Why do you like that? Have you any time told him so? Or you are keeping it a secret? So like that, the questions will keep building on education. This entire spectrum of education is all encompassing. You'll talk about your education, your interview, your interaction with your teachers, what did you learn from that, and so on and so forth. So this is how the first part will happen. Thereafter, once he has got sufficient inputs, he will go on to the next part. That is your family. Now, family also, what can be asked in the family issues? Where do you stay? Is it your ancestral house, or you have hired a house, and what did you do in that house? How do you spend time in that house? What is the kind of routine that you have in that house? Then, what do you do to keep yourself physically fit? What do you do for other activities? What do you do? All these questions will get collected in the family issue. How do you spend time with your neighbors? All that become issues of the family issues. And then, having said that, they will ask you more questions. So the next part is your hobbies and interests. Hobbies, interests, your routine. What are the other activities that you involve yourself in? Those are things that you will be asked about. In that, you would have written, no, I play guitar, or I collect stamps, or I do something else. I go for a run. So those are the kinds of, somebody would have written yoga, somebody would have written meditation. So all these questions, they will be asking you further details as to why did you mention that. So you should be able to answer them. Like I said, every time the interviewing officer asks question, there'll be seldom an opportunity you will get just one question. There'll be a series of questions, and thereafter you will be asked to answer them. So this is so even during the cross-examination, not just for the first question answer, but for others also. In many times it will be long questions based on which you have to answer. Now, in the process, he also would like to know what is your knowledge base, what is your routine, what are your scores. All that is important, and based on the inclination that you've gone, you have reflected whether you read newspaper or not, do not read newspaper, etc. Based on that, he will ask you questions too. Like if somebody has told me that he plays football and he follows football, then he'll ask you, okay, what is the trophy? What is the national trophy for football championship in the country? And how many teams take part? Which is the last tournament which was played and who won it? This is a question about you have said football is my interest. So you have to give answers for that. Now, in the process, you shouldn't lose track of what you're speaking, and then make use of what is around you to carry on. When in doubt, you should tell him, sir, I'm doubtful. And when your mind gets clarity on that issue that was just under discussion, then you can tell him the answer to that at this point. The GTO and the psychology doesn't give you that kind of leverage. If you're not good, you're not good. They will not be this thing. If you have not done anything, there's no way you can go back and do it. But in an interview, you get the chance to, amend your answers and keep telling about the answers. So that is a great advantage of interview, which nobody else would have. So if you are very careful listener, you will pick up all the questions. You'll be able to answer everything in the sequence that has been asked. Provided you have some, remembering things in a sequence or methodically have become a habit for you. So please be careful about that. Okay. Okay. Now, I've generally said what happens in interview. Now it would be an appropriate time to, I've spoken for almost 35 minutes now. So now it is your turn to ask me questions. I've told you everything that happens in the interview. Yeah. One thing that I forgot was in the process, they will test every capability of yours. How do you organize yourself? Are you capable of organizing things? Have you got an analytical mind on issues that are there? All that kind of questions will be thrown at you. It could be in your education section, it could be in your family section or elsewhere, depending on what is the clientele that you are. And certainly for those people who are working, there will be questions from your workplace too. In fact, if you are deeply embedded in the activity, it may so happen that he will not ask you. Instead of that, he will ask you questions about that particular issue. So that is how it will all take place. So, particular issue in the sense that you have taken part in football championship. So he'll ask you, okay, organize a football match, or you have to select and organize a football team. How do you do that? No, it is all things that you have experienced. So we are not asking you anything out of syllabus. We are not taking you to areas that we know that you don't know. We'll keep you in areas that you know and find out answers for yourself to actually make out how have you done. How have you learned? Okay, for every opportunity, remember that the classroom learning is only 5%. Rest of the 90% is your experiential learning. So please pick up that and utilize it correctly. Any questions now?
I have one question. Like during the stage 1, when the PPDT occurs, all the 3 assessors are there to assess us. So what they are actually looking in the stage 1, because there is not only interviewing officer, but the psychologist as well as the GTO is also sitting. So
see, stage 1, it is only a rough scene. We are only trying to identify people who are worthy enough to be taken to the stage 2 for testing. That is all that we are seeing. Are you a confident guy? Are you able to conceive things and express it? Are you able to work in a team? These could be the basic principles on which your selection is done. That are you a capable person? Have you got the adequate communication capability so that you can be further taken to testing to find out somebody has the probables. So that is the only thing that is looked at in stage 1. Yeah. Try and restrict, ask more questions about the interview rather than anything else.
So anyone has any question, please feel free to ask. You can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hello. Sir, I was asking, sir, that we are from engineering field, sir. So we are sometimes very much busy in our schedule. So we are not that much into the current affairs. So is that so much of issue in the interview?
See, we are looking for an all-round personality. So therefore, we expect you to be, reasonably good at every field that you have been. Okay. Your education also is important, but it is not that you have to be an absolute padaku. I want you to be 95%. But when you select, all this will be taken into consideration. We would, if the clientele is more, we would like to select the upper bracket people. So that we get the best guy. He has at least proved his worth it. One part of his personality that he can, once given a task, he can study well and perform. So that is one part of his capability. So as long as he can accept that, it is fine.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, anything else?
Sir, Yes, sir. Sir, what are the common mistakes candidates do during their interview?
Okay, common mistake. First is bluffing. People bluff things that they have not done, and the interviewing officer will say, okay, very good, very good. Your answer is very good. I'm enjoying it. So you'll tell more bluffing. Do not keep your normal self. Do not make any mistake. Do not bluff. When you don't know an answer, you should be man enough to say that, sir, I don't know. but I may like to make a guess and then tell your answer. But it can't be for every question. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Then, so you should not bluff. You should not be open, free, and frank. Do not hold back in. Suppose I ask you whether you had a girlfriend and how close were you. You'll say, "Sir, these are private matters. If I don't want to answer this." Then you also go home, and the trainee also will find it difficult. Okay. Okay. Next.
I have one question. I was in Kapurthala for my NDA entry, and my interview was going on. So the same question interview officer has asked me whether you have a girlfriend or not. And literally speaking, at that time I had no girlfriend, even now. So my answer to him, like, why don't you have a girlfriend? So I just tell I am working on my own field. I have much to do there. So he said, so my answer was sometime was not going in other direction. So it comes, why don't you have a girlfriend? Do you don't talk it or does it? So I told him that sometime when you have a girlfriend, you're spending too much time in WhatsApp chat and all these things. So basically you go in the wrong direction and you're wasting your time. So my answer was somehow not fine. So do you think this thing has made any bad impact in my interview?
Okay. So now what happens is, see, at your age, having, to feel an affection for of the opposite sex is a very natural thing. It is where you draw your boundaries. One. Second is, if you've gone far and if you've fallen in love with somebody, it is quite natural. But you should be man enough to accept that and say that I will take it forward. There is nothing wrong in that. Falling in love with anybody is not it's a very natural thing. But one should be able to, sing. And it shouldn't be that, you're falling in love and all your performances have gone for a 6. Your education, your performance have dropped. You are not concentrating on your studies. You started skipping classes. All that happens. Then it is the thing, because you are not able to balance your work, pleasure, and leisure, etc. You should be able to balance all of them and take it off very well. It is not that because we are not picking up sportsmen. We are looking for somebody who is an all-rounder. So if you have gone for national game, is no qualification to clear in the SSB. If you've gone for national games and still managed your studies, then it is a qualification to be we have to carefully look at it. Okay, so that is everything. So having girlfriend or not having girlfriend is not an issue. If you don't have, it is still fine. But this having a girlfriend should not have become a major distraction for you, and you miss out your curriculum. Yeah, I'm done. Any other question?
Sir,
I hope I have explained the question.
Sir, is there any short way to ace the interview process, sir?
Sure, I can't tell you any. There's nothing. You have to do well in your interview. There is nothing. It is not a maths exam that you can reverse and sing, because it will ultimately depend on what you speak. The next question will be based on what you have spoken in the previous question. So that is how the interview will progress. So I have nothing to tell that. So if you do like this, you will pass. No. Yes, you have to. While you are growing up, make use of every opportunity around you and do all that is possible. Like I'll tell you. Now, timing, how do you manage your routine and how do you manage your time? Many means about 95% candidates keep telling me, sir, there is no time. But when he comes to routine, he's been sitting and watching movie at 12 in the night, and next day he can't get up till 12 o'clock. It is an added boon because he is into activities that are not desirable. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next.
Sir, I would like to ask one thing here. Sir,
Yeah.
there are some people who, whenever speak, have this habit of, explaining things through gestures and, facial expressions. So what do you think, like, is it a good habit to present yourself in this way in front of an interviewer? Like being
Okay.
normal or expressing yourself up to the
Oh,
fullest?
okay. Okay. Could you repeat the question once again?
Yeah, so I was like, some people have this habit. Like I personally, whenever I want to explain something, I use this, hand gestures and facial expressions
Okay.
because,
Okay.
yeah, that's my expression way. So is it good to be like that in front of an interviewer?
Okay. There is no hard and fast rule as to you should not use or you should use. You can use minimally. You can use minimally to put across something, stress something. But if it is that your hand and eyes and head is making all the gestures and you're talking very little, then it is bad. Okay. And you must answer only the question that is asked you. You should not explain. Okay. Unless you are asked to explain. This is one mistake which many candidates do, especially girl candidates. So you have to be wary and you have to be cautious, and you should only answer that much that has been asked about you. You didn't have to say anything like that. Okay. Like I said, every aspect of yours will be explored. How do you spend your daily time? How do you keep yourself physically fit? How do you keep yourself aware of what is happening around the country? So all this is very important. So, and how do you manage your time? This managing time is very important because, see, many candidates come up and tell me that this is what I want to tell in the last. Many candidates come up and say, sir, I don't have time. अरे टाइम क्यों नहीं है? शाम को जिम में जाके 4 घंटा बैठा रहता है, रात को 12 बजे तक पिक्चर देखता है, फिर 8 बजे उठता है, उसके बाद बोलता है सर मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है. That is no excuse. You should have designed your day in a manner that you can optimally utilize it. You can play also, you can sleep little, you can sleep adequately also. It is not that you get your bed, you will always insist that, some doctor has said, I have to sleep 8 hours, so I will sleep only full 8 hours and then only get. Then there is a problem. You are up to a challenge. So you have to quietly qualify. So if you have to qualify, you have to plan yourself to how to reach there. Very, very important. Okay. I'm done. I'm done with the question. I hope I have answered your question.
Sir, there are any difference between SSB of another branches like Army, Navy, Air Force?
Yeah. There'll be slight difference in the sense, you are coming for an army. I will ask you some questions about army. How is the army organized? Why do you wish to join the army? What more do you know about the army? That kind of questions will come. Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir.
What else?
Sir, is there any incident during your experience or your timing from like your tenure in the SSB Kapurthala, as you have interviewed so many candidates and you also were the president as well, from which we can learn something different?
See, there are candidates, yeah, that's a very good question. See, there are candidates who have, it is not necessary that you have to have a hobby. If you don't have a hobby, you, I say, फालतू में उधर लिख दो कि मेरा ये hobby है, interest है. I will tell you about a candidate. No, he came from Bathinda. He was from a very poor family. They hardly owned any land. He had just the place to have his house and a cattle shed. That is all that he had, where they had kept they were running a dairy farm with about 10 cows or something, some such figure. And they had taken some land on lease or kiraya pe liya hua tha, and he was studying in a local school, and he hardly, his English was very pretty poor, but he could convey everything without much difficulty. English was poor, but he could convey everything. He could understand my question and he could convey everything. And he also knew how the dairy farm was run. He used to help his father. He knew the minutest details. Like, the minutest detail is, how do you decide on the age of a cow? When you have to buy a cow, how do you decide on the age of a cow? It is not written. It doesn't come with a birth certificate. How do you do that? So he knew such intricate questions. How often, what is the cycle of, milking and, off milking time? What are some precautions that they have to take? All that he knew, and he knew too well. And all that he could express in English with that little English that he knew. So that is the difference. And there is another boy who come. He's studied all his life in English, but he can't speak 2 sentences in English. So that gives a sad commentary, and he doesn't know anything. Somebody's played national football, but when I ask him to organize a football match in his school, he misses out 80% of the essentials that is required to organize a match. So that is the difference. This is one thing. It is not necessary that you have studied only in a Doom school or Vellums or some school like that to get into the to clear the SSB. You have to be a good boy or a girl who has made use of the opportunities around him to develop himself and learn from that and get ahead. That is the capability that you are looking for. I'll tell you of another guy. He was a soldier. A soldier from Northeast. He had 8 sisters. For 8 sisters, he was the only boy. And they also, on similar this thing, his earning was the only income that they had to support his family. And imagine a boy who is earning just about 30,000. He has his 8 sisters and his parents and his grandparents all living there. All have to be supported. So after giving all his support, he is left with hardly any money. And he had to prepare for SSB also. So he told his parents, next 2 years, I'm not coming home. If there are no emergency, I will not come home. He stayed back. He took leave, stayed around in his unit only to prepare so that he's free and he can attend classes, whatever he wants. He did everything and he came. It was a classic example of how hard a person works to make true his ambitions. Okay. Anything else?
Sir, what is one message or tip you would like to give us through all years of your experience, sir?
Say again. What is one?
One message or tip for us through all years of your experience.
Okay. See, be observant. Be observant and be analytical about what is happening in front of you. Why is it being done? And what could be the outcome? How could you change course? For each thing that you attend, suppose you attend a school assembly. You imagine yourself, if you were the principal, how could you have done it differently to make it an even better event? You go for a football match, it is not just playing that is important. You could find out what are the weak areas of the event, because you have experienced everything. How could you have done it differently to make it even more interesting and even more efficient? If you can pick up this habit in your day-to-day functioning, then you are a sure guy to sail through the SSB. Always that attitude is there. How can I help people? How can I bring in better results of whatever we are doing together? That attitude has to come in. Then you should be able to do it better. Okay?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
So sometimes we are not able to figure out where to start our preparation. So can you?
You already started. Please just go ahead. Don't. I said you, for everything that you do, I will tell you, I'll tell you a simple example. How a person has put his towel on clothes for drying clearly indicates his personality. Was he committed to doing that job when he did it or otherwise? If you ever stayed in a hostel and if you walk out to the area where clothes are put to drying by various students and look at it, and you will be able to make out. It doesn't require any education. You will make out how the kapda has been, how cleanly the cloth has been washed, how neatly he has put it. All will reveal your personality. You don't have to go anywhere to do that. Same thing. Start from your bed. This is something that one student told me. If I have to improve, I have to start from my bed. Morning when I get up, I don't wait for my mother or sister or grandmother or somebody. I make my own bed. I clean the area around. I hang my clothes or I wash my clothes. Then I keep my cupboard neat or my almirah neat or my trunk neat, my suitcase neat, my study table neat. All that is indicative of your personality. There is nothing which is coming from anywhere. I am also like many of you, or at least some of you. I come from a village. I have sat on those, banana stems to go across rivulets and all to cut grass and bring it home. All that I've done. So you have to be very, very, everywhere you have to be saying, how can I improve? How can I become more efficient? What is it that I've got to learn from him? Okay. Well, I will, quote Dr. Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda once, when he was speaking to students, he said, no, a cobbler who can turn out a good pair of shoes, he is a far better human being than a professor who speaks nonsense all the day. So that sums up all how you have to do. Whatever you do, you should do in such a way that you should be, when you finish it, you should have the self-belief that nobody could have done it better than me. If you dedicate yourself to doing everything like that, there is no way anybody can stop you. Do every act of yours with that commitment. Okay.
Most of us are from hostels and villages, so we can relate it easily. What you said.
I know. See, so you look back at your hostel days and think, how have you utilized that facility to grow? Did somebody, your warden or housemaster or somebody had to come and tell you please make your bed? Or was your bed made on your own? Was your surroundings kept clean? All that is indicative. Nobody has to tell you. It is your own bed. Only you use it. Sometimes maybe your friends come and sit it. So similarly, you do it to others also. So rest of the time, you should be able to keep that bed neat and clean. Your cupboard, your notebook, your clothes that you wear, are you able to keep it neatly and neat and tidy? Then yes, you are very good. Otherwise, then you are up for trouble. Okay. See, the point is, if you can't organize yourself, the smallest, where nobody is interfering, if you can't organize yourself, how can I expect you to organize 20 others with your personal example? Your personal example is so horrible, nobody would like to follow you. So then how will people follow you? Okay.
Sir, sometimes, sir, we do not achieve what we want. For example, we are failing in SSBs continuously, or in life we are not.
Don't take SSB. You take other examples.
For example, we are giving some exam. We are given 4 to 5 attempts, but we are not succeeding. So what should be our mindset after that? So sometimes we lose motivation and discipline. Sir.
One is 3, 4 things. One is your preparation is not right.
No, sir. For example, sir, the person is doing everything right, which is in.
That is his belief. That is his belief. If he is doing everything right in the desirable manner, he will clear. It is a competition. See, if a competition, if they will take only 10, you have to come in that 10. Your preparation should be that level that you can come in that 10. Then only it is good enough. Okay. Otherwise, it is not good enough.
So how we identify that where we are wrong?
Say again.
How can we identify that where is our preparation is wrong or where we are went wrong?
That is your self-awareness. If you analyze for yourself, where is it that I am going wrong? And if you compare with others who are getting it right, you will come to know. You'll surely come to know that this is the area that you are actually going wrong. Huh?
Sir, how to keep us going in such scenarios? Sir?
Your self-motivation. ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है. When your life is in danger and you have to also ensure the safety of another 100 people, that situation will be very, very bad. So you have to reorient and reconnect. Okay. Wherever your preparation, you feel that it is not taking you, that means you have to change your style of preparing. Find out how others are preparing and how those people are clearing, how are they doing it differently. And this thing, then yes, you must also understand everything is not, it is all based on each individual's capability. You have to, either you reach that grade of capability or you have to redraw your aspirations. Okay. Either you can see it is like a piece of one shirt. Either you make it your size and wear it, or you have to buy cloth and make a shirt that suits your size. You cannot fit into a shirt which has not been made for you, which is not of your size. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So if anyone has any question, then please ask. Otherwise, we will wind up the session. Anyone from the audience?
Yeah, somebody else's voice came, some girl or somebody's voice came. Anybody, any doubts?
Okay, if anyone has not any doubt, so I will request all of you, at least please open your videos so that we can have a group photograph. Then we will go ahead. Please everyone, I request all of you, please open your videos so that we can have a group photographs. And I request my team to take the photographs at their end as well. Now I request Rashmi, our joint coordinator of SSB Club, to present vote of thanks for this webinar.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm Rashmi Joshi, Joint Coordinator of SSB Club. So first of all, I would like to thank Brigadier Venu sir. Sir, your session was, so much enlightening that we learned a lot of things that we need, we should keep in our mind while attending an interview in SSB. So thank you for your words, your knowledge that you showed up on us, starred on us. So other than sir, I would like to thank the members of SSB Club for all your efforts that you put to make this session so wonderful. And also I would like to thank audience for listening patiently. And yeah, thank you all for making this session such a great success. Thank you.
And special thanks to Yodha SSB Academy and especially Dilip, because he was the
Thank
one
you
who
so
was
much.
the connection between me and sir. So and also Ajay, I think he's not here.
Yes, yes.
So thank you all of you for joining us. And at last, I request you, sir, whenever we go to the SSB, it is the last day. It's our conference day. Just before the conference, our president comes and gives us some tips that we can follow to clear our SSB or any task during our whole lifetime. So before winding up this session, I request you, as you are the president, I think you can make again us that feel that what we should do in some points before winding up this section.
Okay. One, please organize your day so that you achieve everything that you wish set out to do. Review them and make modifications each day. Do not, overdo anything. Like one of the places where I in most times I've found people overdoing is they go to the gym or sing for 3 hours in the day. What you require is 45 minutes of vigorous activity, and you should be done for the day. Just 45 minutes of intense activity, and try and do it as much as possible outdoors rather than going to a gym and keep looking at the mirror. After doing 10 benches, you start looking at your biceps. Ki bhai, bana ke nahi bana. No point. What we require is your whole body functioning well. So indulge in activities that every body of your body part is flexible and civil. We are not looking for some ape man or something. We are looking for people who can do things well. We are not worried about the shape of your muscle or your triceps or biceps or anything. We are worried about your total physical and mental capability to do things. So read, be analytical, and be aware of what is happening around you. You must also remember only 5% of learning happens in your classroom. The rest 95% you have to learn from your own experience. And for that, you have to make an endeavor. If you just confine yourself to your books, then you will always remain an incomplete personality unless you just want to sit in a lab or some such institution. Yes, if you want to be cracking the SSB and become a uniformed man, then you have to develop your personality in your 360-degree. You should have a 360-degree portfolio for all of you. That's all that I would like to say. Thank you.
Okay. Jai Hind, sir, and thanks to all of you for joining us. Once again, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you.
Jai Hind.